Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. It's a podcast. It's also a YouTube show. If you want to see this for some weird reason, it's just my face. You can go to my YouTube channel at SpeedJampar. There are links in the show notes. Hey, okay, let's talk about the words. The first word is exculpatory. 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 And at the end of the previous episode, we had exculpate, which should we remind ourselves of what that is? To clear from alleged fault or guilt. The synonyms were exculpate, absolve, exonerate, acquit, and vindicate. So this word, exculpatory, is an adjective from 1781. Tending or serving to exculpate. It's surely a good thing that I told you what it meant, because otherwise you wouldn't know. Tending to absolve of guilt or serving to absolve of guilt. Okay, it is sound effect time, which says that word's done, and here comes another word, and my sound effect is going to be woo. The next word is excurrent. It's X plus the word current, like a water current, or the current events, or current popular music that I don't really listen to. This word is an adjective from 1826. Number 1, characterized by a current that flows outward, as in the clam's excurrent siphon. So clams can, I think, suck in water and probably push out water. Maybe is there a word like incurrent? If the water that's coming in, and so they can siphon it, I guess. So the clam's excurrent siphon, it's pushing water out of its siphon, out of some hole, I guess, on a clam. Number 2, having the axis prolonged to form an undivided main stem or trunk. And the example of where this is happening is in conifer trees. Having the axis prolonged to form an undivided main stem or trunk. So there's the trunk of the tree, and there's an axis. It's sort of this radial axis because it's a circle. Having the axis prolonged to form it, so I guess it's just I don't know how they use this in context. There's no sentence, there's no example sentence. So the trunk grows, and I guess it's being extended, and eventually it will branch off to branches, but to form an undivided main stem or trunk. Yeah, when the trunk is not divided into the branches, it is the main thing. So what is that, an excurrent trunk? I don't know how they use it in context. The synonym is the number 2 definition for the word deliquescent. Wonderful word. This word is from the Latin verb excurrere, which means to run out or extend. So the running out of the water from the clam, the extending of the tree trunk maybe. That is from ex plus currere, which means to run. And there is more at the word car, because cars run. They run real fast. Zoomy zoom. Okay, what was my sound effect? Ooh. The next word is excursion. Noun from circa 1587. Number 1A. A going out or forth. And the synonym is the word expedition. Oh, yes. I would like to throw in the word adventure as well. I'm going on an adventure, an expedition, an excursion. 1B1, a usually brief pleasure trip. Maybe it's a day trip. Maybe you go to another country and you're settled in a city, but you want to go to a palace, or you want to go see caves or cliffs or something. So maybe it's not that far of a drive or a train trip, And let's just go on an excursion, just a little excursion, just for the day. We're gonna come back in time for dinner. It's gonna be great. I have been on many excursions. I do some traveling for work or for pleasure, for personal trips. Let's see. Whoa, I was just reminded from my coworker that we went to Vienna 5 years ago for work, and at the end of the trip, when we were all done, we stayed an extra day, and some of us took an excursion, a day trip to, I think it's Hallstatt. I think that's the name of the town. And so we got on a little bus. Maybe there was 10 of us, and we stopped in a couple of little cities, little towns on the way. We got some history lessons. I think we stopped in the town that Mozart grew up in. And then we got to Hallstatt, which is, whoa, if you ever can get over there, we highly recommend. Who's we? I highly recommend Hallstatt. It's surrounded by mountains. It's on a lake. It's just this like classic, old sort of German-Austrian town, and it's beautiful. And we got to hang out there for a few hours. That was a great excursion. Let's now talk about the next definition, which is 1B2, a trip at special reduced rates. If they're cheaper trips, maybe they're short. Number 2, deviation from a direct, definite, or proper course, especially the synonym digression, as in needless excursions into abstruse theory. Abstruse is ABSTRUSE. It's not obtuse. Maybe there are obtuse theories too. This is abstruse. I don't know what that means. Needless excursions into abstruse theory because they deviate from the direct course, the definite course, or the proper course. The normal theories and these excursions these theories go in another direction. Sometimes it's fun to take a little excursion. It doesn't follow the normal course. How are you going to learn things, see new things? They're very important. Number 3, a movement outward and back or from a mean position or axis. Also, the distance traversed. The synonym is amplitude. So we have an example. The excursion of a piston. So like a car engine has pistons that go back and forth based on, I guess, how much gas you're putting into the engine and how fast you're trying to go. I don't know my car engine mechanics, but that's enough. There's like little explosions that push the pistons out and then they come back because there's a whole gear system. And so the amplitude, the distance that the piston travels from one side to the other side, that's the amplitude. And I guess it's also the excursion. The piston is taking a little adventure when all of the explosions happen with the gas and the ignition and the fires. Oh, that piston sure loves a good excursion. Yeah, the movement outward and back, or the movement outward and back, that direction, or from a mean position, that would be its average position, or the axis. Yeah, that's good. Okay, great. Excursion, it's from the same etymology as excurrent, the Latin verb excurrere. Yeah, it's the same one. Next is excursionist. You can say excursionist or excursionist. Noun from 1830. A person who goes on an excursion. I don't think I've ever heard anybody describe themselves as an excursionist, but I have been an excursionist on my various day trips. They're great. I'm going to go on some more day trips in the future. Can't wait. I'm going to say, I will be an excursionist today, taking my little trip. Next is excursive. Adjective from 1659, constituting a digression, and then also characterized by digression. So we saw in a couple of words ago, the synonym for excursion was a digression. You're like, oh, well, maybe I'm going down this path, but maybe I want to go over here. This could be a human. This could be pistons. This could be whatever it is, a digression. So if it's characterized by that digression or constituting a digression, it's excursive. Excursively is an adverb, and excursiveness is a noun. Next we have excursus. E-X-C-U-R-S-U-S. Excursus. Noun from 1803. Plural options are excursuses with an es at the end, or also just excursus or excursus. I guess it's, either excursus or excursus. And I love excursuses. But I want another option to be excursi, because sometimes the US is the singular, and then the I, or maybe an A would be the plural. Excursa, excursi, it's not an option. This is an appendix or digression that contains further exposition of some point or topic. Maybe I'm reading a science-y book right now. I may have mentioned it before. It's called Determined, and it's about how, according to this scientist, there is no free will. And I'm a very, very slow reader, so it's going to take me a while to read it, and I will get back to you. I'll let you know what I think, but so far it's fascinating. But there are excursuses. Sometimes you get the little star symbol or something, or the dagger that says, hey, go look at the bottom of the page. There's additional information down there. Go read that. So that would be an excursus. And then also at the beginning of the book, they said, go to the appendix if you want a little primer, a little education on the basics of neurology and the neurons in your brain and how those work. So that would probably be an excursus as well. So yeah, it's an appendix. That's literally what it is. The appendix at the end of the book is an excursus because it's giving you more information, but you have to divert. You have to go on a little digression to get there, and then you can come back to the main story. Okay, that's it for that one. The etymology is it's Latin for digression. Excursus is Latin for digression. And then, of course, it comes from the same word that we saw before, excurrere. I put a little Spanish twinge on that, excurrere. There's a double R in the middle. Next is excusatory. Excusatory. Adjective from 1535. Making or containing excuse. So making an excuse, containing an excuse. Oh, the typical excuse is I didn't do my homework, but I did because I don't have it because my dog ate it. And so I guess I would be acting excusatory. It's not accusatory. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm making an excuse. Excusatory. You don't be excusatory telling me about why you're not bringing in your homework. Just do your homework. The next word is the last word. We got two forms. It's the word excuse. Of course, it was coming up. We had excusatory, and now we have excuse. But this first form is actually excuse with a Z sound. E-X-C-U-S-E. Excuse, what is the difference between these pronunciations? I'm not seeing anything different. Oh, I guess it's just skews. Yeah, that's the difference. There's no first syllable. It's either excuse or just skews. Will you excuse me while I be excusatory? It says imperatively, often just skews. Excuse me? This is a transitive verb from the 13th century. Number 1A, to make apology for. I am making an apology for the person who was acting very poorly at the party. They were a poor party prankster, and so I am excusing them for their behavior. 1B, to try to remove blame from. To try to remove blame from. Oh, you're putting all the blame on that poor party prankster, but I got to take some of the blame. I have to excuse themselves from that. Boy, this can get a little weird. I don't know if I'm giving great examples. Number 2, to forgive entirely or disregard as of trivial import. And then also regard as excusable. As in the example, graciously excused his tardiness. That was very gracious. He had a very good excuse when he was excusatory explaining his tardiness. Why was he tardy? Because he got hit by a bus. That's a pretty good reason to be tardy. In fact, it's a pretty good reason not to go at all. Maybe you should go to the hospital. To forgive entirely. I entirely forgive you. I excused you. Number 3A, to grant exemption or release to, as in, was excused from jury duty. I have been excused from jury duty twice. They did not pick me, probably because I was antagonistic isn't the right word, but they didn't like what I was thinking. To grant exemption. We exempt you from being on jury duty. We don't want you. You're exempt from it. Don't worry about it. You can go home. You could take your $17 check, which won't cover anything. Number 3B, to allow to leave. Similar to the last one, but it's different. To allow to leave, as in excused the class. I wonder, I can't really think of it in the moment, but there must be a connection between this type of definition, excusing the class to leave, you can go, you're exempt from this situation, compared to making an apology for, excusing somebody for their behavior. I'm trying to sort of wrap my brain around that. Maybe the etymology will have a bit more, or the synonym information, because we have a lot of synonym information. So the example there was excused the class. The class is done, school is done, you are excused, the bell has rung, I can't talk anymore because you got to get to your next class, so class excused. Number 4, to serve as excuse for. The synonym is justify. As in, nothing can excuse such neglect. Nothing can justify the neglect that some people do or don't do. They do the neglect to their animals. They don't treat them well. They don't bathe them. They don't feed them. Why are people neglecting animals? There's no justification, no excuse for that kind of behavior. I shall never excuse it. To serve as excuse for. Interesting that the word is in the definition, and of course that probably means that it's using the second form, the definition from the second form of excuse, because that's excuse, not excuse. What else do we have? Excusable is an adjective. Excusableness, that is a noun. A lot to say. Excusableness. Excusably is an adverb, and excuser is a noun. So the etymology, what do we have? It's from the Latin excusare, which is from the ex prefix plus causa, which means cause, or explanation. Okay, so the cause of something explains why the effect happened, why the other thing happened after that. And now, it doesn't say what excusare means, but typically when we put the ex prefix on, it's like out, cause out, explanation out, explain out. That's an interesting one. And of course, in the moment, I can't think of like what. I will say, I did have a note from somebody when I post these on Reddit weekly. Usually I get crickets and silence, which is fine. It's totally understandable. But every once in a while, somebody says something, and I got a bunch of notes from somebody recently. They were very nice about it. They gave me some compliments and said, hey, maybe this, maybe this. One of the things was basically do a little bit more research on the words so you can actually provide more information on these. And unfortunately, my life does not allow for me to do that. There's just not enough time. They said, getting the extra information is good because if I just wanted to go learn about what a word means, I can just go to the dictionary or a website or an app or something. And that's why I add all this extra stuff, explanations and things. And yes, I get it. I don't have all the information. I am not an expert on anything. And it would be great if there could be a guest on every single episode. Maybe someday that will happen. Right now, not so much the case, unless I want to stretch out this podcast by 3 to 5 times and make it 100 years long. So anyway, the point of that was, in the moment, I can only give you so much information. I can only figure out so much in the moment, and I apologize if that is frustrating to you. I am not an all-knowing God, so you might need to go dig in a little bit further. And sometimes I put in links in the show notes so you can have a starting point at least. But so, yeah, ex causa, the cause, the explanation, excuse the very, very clear explanation of this is, here's my excuse for why I didn't do my homework. That's an explanation. That's the cause, and this is, that makes sense. That's easy. But then some of these, I don't know, justify, excusing class. What's the connection to the etymology? That's what, I don't know, and we're never going to know maybe, but we have synonyms, so let's talk about them. Excuse, condone, pardon, and forgive mean to exact neither punishment nor redress. I don't think it's redress or it's redress. Excuse may refer to specific acts, especially in social or conventional situations, or the person responsible for these, as in, excuse an interruption. Also as in, excused them for interrupting. Similar examples, both talking about interrupting. Excuse me for interrupting, but I just need to say something here. Okay, it says, often the term implies extenuating circumstances, as in, injustice excuses strong responses. Injustice excuses strong responses. So backtracking a little bit, it says often the term implies extenuating circumstances. Injustice excuses strong responses. In the moment, trying to come up with what all this is. So excuse may refer to specific acts, especially in social or conventional situations, or the person responsible for these. Well, let's go on. Maybe we're going to get a little bit more slightly different words definitions. Condone implies that one overlooks without censure behavior, as in, let's skip the parentheses for now. Condone implies that one overlooks without censure behavior that involves a serious breach of a moral, ethical, or legal code, and the term may refer to the behavior or to the agent responsible for it, as in a society that condones alcohol, but not narcotics. So yes, this society says that alcohol is okay, it's fine, but narcotics are not okay. I would also like to replace narcotics with, say, cannabis. Now, here in the United States of America, we're getting a little bit better about the difference in opinions about alcohol versus cannabis. But alcohol still has less stigma attached to it than cannabis, which is odd because it is objectively much less safe than cannabis. We won't go down that route right now. So let's just read, now that we have that example in mind, if you didn't know what condone means. Condone implies, it's a very long definition for not something that's relatively simple. Condone implies that one overlooks Behavior like dishonesty or violence that involves a serious breach of a moral, ethical, or legal code, and the term may refer to the behavior or to the agent responsible for it. I approve of this thing, this behavior, this whatever it is. I say that it's okay. I'm condoning it. And I'm not, without censure, that's the other part. I'm not censoring you. That you keep on doing what you're doing. That's what this word condone means. Is that a goose? I don't know where that sound came from. You probably didn't hear it. So now we have the next word, pardon, implies that one remits a penalty due for an admitted or established offense, as in pardon a criminal. It's kind of like condoning the actions that they supposedly did, but if you're pardoning them, then you're saying they didn't do them. And presidents have the ability to pardon criminals, and I am a little afraid of what the future could hold, and also the past. Some people probably have been pardoned for things that maybe the majority of people don't agree with. The last one, forgive, implies that one gives up all claim to requital and to resentment or vengeful feelings, as in, could not forgive their rudeness. I will never forgive. I will not condone your rudeness. How rude you are being. Implies that one gives up all claim to requital. It's like, nope, I give it all up. All right, we have one more official word, which is the second form of the word excuse, but it is pronounced excuse because it is a noun from the 14th century. Number 1, the act of excusing. 2a, something offered as justification or as grounds for being excused. This is the statement of my dog eating my homework. 2b, this is plural. An expression of regret for failure to do something. Excuses, that's the plural. An expression of regret. I'm sorry, I feel so bad that I didn't do this thing, well, maybe the homework, or I did something real dumb, so I'm giving you all these excuses of why I did that because I wasn't feeling good that morning, whatever. Oh no, those are just excuses. Maybe there's some underlying issues going on. Number 2C is a note of explanation of an absence. Your doctor's note. Your doctor will write a note that will excuse you from a class because of you not feeling good. Thank you, doctor. Number 3, synonyms are justification and reason. The synonym is the word apology. That's pretty much what it is. When used in the noun form, it's an apology. Sorry, here's my excuse. I'm full of excuses. I'm always given excuses. All right, I think it is now time for word of the episode time. Today we had exculpatory, excurrent, excursion, excursionist, excursive, excursus or excursus, excusatory, excuse, and excuse. I think I might have to pick excursion. I mean, it's wonderful to give excuses. I can give you lots of excuses for why this podcast isn't any better, because I am busy, because, time is a big one. Time is a big one. And hard to get guests when you're trying to put out episodes 5 days a week. So many excuses. Those are fun. But, excursion. I love going on excursions to other places when I'm in all the places I want to see, all the places. It's fun to see the places. All right, do I have another movie to tell you about? I don't know if I do. I think I may be all caught up. Let's see. That's it. No more movies for you. Sorry. I am going on a plane trip tomorrow for work, and so maybe I'll get to watch a movie on the plane. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great place to watch a movie, but I like watching movies, so let's see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to watch it on my phone like I've had to do in the past. We'll see what the chair situation is like, if they got a monitor. That's it. I guess that's it. We're going to have to end it there. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. I hope that you are sharing it and subscribing and doing all those things that you gotta do for people who are making all this content. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Excuse me.